too loud.
Hello. I think I have the stream playing. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I had the stream up. Okay, hi. Welcome to the Writer's Room. My name is Morgan Lee. You're here on my channel, and I'm going to let my co-hosts introduce themselves, and then Laura, who is our guest today. So take it away, Barrett.
Hi, my name is Barrett Laurie. I was on YouTube for a long time. I did AuthorTube for a minute, and then I pivoted to like patient videos, and then I got diagnosed with a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in the fall. So now I am taking time away from YouTube as I get that under control. So that's it, except for this, because these are my people, and it's once a month. So I can commit to that. Tiffany.
Is it once a month? No.
We missed the last two. Well,
Yeah,
whenever okay.
We don't know. Hello, I am Tiffany TL Russ on all the interwebs. I write under TL Russ and that's right. Oh no, TL Russ Lifestyle. I don't know what I meant. Again, Writer's Room. You can find me any of those places. Right now I have a Christmas series that's currently releasing. It's got 2 books out and 1 more to go. And yeah, I'm here because these are my peeps as well. So woohoo!
Yay! I'm Laurie Nettles. I mostly write horror. I'm branching out with interesting things. And yeah, I have just officially moved back to California. So gave up my Canada apartment. That's what I was doing all last week, was moving. My nails are now short because they kept breaking all the moving. But yeah, I'm here and I start my new job on Tuesday.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Yay. Did you find out if you do get free books?
I don't know yet.
Oh, you better.
Yeah.
That should be a perk.
Yeah.
I like this idea.
Or a very deep discount.
Yes. Well, all right. And I'm Morgan Lee. Book 1 of my trilogy is now back up for sale because I fixed the back matter and then some typos that I found. So book 1 is up for sale. You can purchase that. And then eventually I'll get book 2 back up. And then book 3 will be coming out next year, sometime next year. And I have a pre-order for the first book in my cozy fantasy. So you can also purchase that.
I was just talking about your book too, to my father. Well, because he was questioning if all of us had books that were published, and I was going through all the different people who do. And then I was like, there's this, and I was like, but Morgan tops all of us because her books are like 3 books in one. Right. Really long. And then I think I told him how many pages, and his eyes went like this. And I was like, yeah, she writes fantasy. And he's like, I don't understand. And so then I had to go into like what are different genres, and it was a whole thing.
I love it.
Well, today we are talking Laura's story, Study of Demonology, the first chapter. So, Laura, why don't you tell us what you are looking for from us today and a little about your book?
Okay, so Studying Demonology is going to be a dark academia, queer throuple. Yeah, so it is, the romance is between the main character of chapter 1, who is studying exorcisms, and then there will be a second love interest, MC, who is actually a pagan god possessing one of the students. Who went through an exorcism the year before and is coming to get revenge on one of the exorcist teachers. And then the third love interest is a girl, and she's the one that the pagan god had been possessing and got exorcised from, and she is the ward of that teacher. So It's going to be the 3.
Sorry, Morgan. Forgot how it worked. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are the 3 MCs. This is chapter 1, though, so we just have the 1 MC so far. And I'm wondering how the characterization is, how the prose is, because it's dark academia, it's more on the flowery side.
So can you, for like me who only heard of that term because of what was her name? I have not been gone from author too that long. Who's the big one that wrote the Dark Academia?
Donna
Dunn, right? Didn't
Oh.
she write? No, did I dream that? Alexa Dunn?
She writes YA thrillers.
Oh, I thought she wrote one that was a Dark Academia. Okay, anyway, what is it? Like how would you describe it? Like what would we tell people?
So it is like an academic college that's historical, or well, this one's historical. A lot of them are steeped in secret societies, and they have a treatise on death, and people are obsessed with something, and there's this whole video that I watched that breaks it down. But
I just meant like a general, just so I'd know, like, because you were saying more flowery, and I actually didn't think it was as flowery, as you know. Or I think of more when I think of
it was very descriptive.
Yeah, but I think of more of like a more of a like, let's see, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of something more like women's lit or something. No, that's not even that really. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something to be more flowery, and I'm like, this didn't give me that. Do you want to read some of it though, so you can give like baseline?
Sure.
Thank you. I forgot to say hi to our friend, so I'm just putting up
academia is also usually a boarding school, so you have that isolation.
Okay. Cool. So it is kind of.
What am I looking for? I'm looking for my document.
Hi, Eva.
Hey.
Okay. It's loading.
Same. I mean, I kind of thought I had an idea, but yeah, I wouldn't have guessed the boarding school thing.
Harry Potter After Dark. Sure.
Online was for that. I know. It's like I died.
No. Lizelle writes Dark Academia.
That's what it was. Okay, I knew it was somebody had written. Okay. I knew somebody had done that.
Is she Dark Academia? I thought she was more dark YA.
Tender Beasts is Dark Academia, I think.
And I think, or A Mastery of Monsters, is that one Dark Academia?
Yeah, that's the
recent one.
Okay.
See, I was only thinking, I guess, of the witchy sister family thing.
Oh,
Blood Like Magic?
Yeah. I was like, witchy sister family thing.
I was about to say, Discovery of Witches. And I was like, that's not it.
I don't know if I'd say cozy romance is necessarily flowery, Eva. I think it depends on how you're setting it up, if I would consider it.
Not like pretty flowers, but like
purple prose or something.
Yeah, more like purple prose, where it's more of a 12th grade reading level than a 6th grade reading level.
Yeah.
For the vocab and stuff, which makes it less accessible, but it's more what people in a college would use anyway.
Yeah.
Secret Societies. Okay. Why, thank you.
Feel free to read whenever you're ready.
All right, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. This might be better.
Richard, I love that you're giving the pronunciation for stuff, because I was watching something yesterday that it was British, and I was trying my best to mimic everything they were saying, and that was how I was doing it.
All right. Studying Demonology, Chapter 1, December 30th, 1860.
Oh, wait, before you start reading, Sky does say tons of trigger warnings. Do we need to give trigger warnings for this?
I think that was a continuation
Oh,
of.
yeah, I think that was part of the
Just-
other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
the
want
only
to make
one
sure in case we needed to say it for somebody.
I don't
in
think
the
there are
audience.
in this
I
chapter.
think the only thing to know is if we get to the end, there's going to be a bad word. So if you're, you
Yeah.
might say a little prayer.
Prayer.
Just bug you.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one bad word at the end. I broke myself. Anyway. Tomes of inherited ancient knowledge weighed me down physically, yet lifted my soul with the hope of revenge and salvation. The heavy suitcase they were cradled in creaked under my leathered grip, grounding me in my new surroundings of Abbey Lane in Whitby, England. Snow fluttered like fallen moonlit angels upon this towering steepled dome roof of St. Benedict's School of Spiritual Studies, causing my breath to hitch at the immaculate sight. Behind me, across the dirt road wide enough for 2 carriages, loomed the famous Abbey ruins ungodly creatures were rumored to have dominion over at night. Here and the rest of the world, but not for long. Wrought iron gates loomed, foreboding despite being open like the arms of the Virgin Mother. Taking a deep breath of frozen air tinted with horse, I passed the gas lamp lit threshold into my new station as an official student of demonology and exorcism, the life I was destined for after the fateful night 10 years ago. The small, prestigious school was made up of 3 main buildings: the cylindrical hallowed hall of learning on Abbey Lane, the surrounding square of teachers' quarters ensconcing the hall, and the student dormitories surrounding a snow-crushed green to the west. They had an unimpeded view of the Abbey ruins to the south, whose famous moonlit facade was recognizable from lithographs. The North Sea brought frigid air from Norway, chilling my skin despite my winter garb. My coat snapped sharply in the wind as I strode toward the stone entrance, my booted footprints lost amongst the hundreds of imprints from the student body earlier that day. The letter in my breast pocket, dated a month ago, assured me I was expected despite the lateness of the hour. The school president was to welcome me, a lowly student on scholarship, in person. Strange. Yes, I had fought tooth and nail for that scholarship through essays, grades, years of community service, and letters of recommendation, but I was a no one for nowhere Wales. The towering front doors were cold, even through my gloves. With a push, they parted on well-oiled hinges, the smell of ancient books, freshly sharpened pencils, and sacramental wine wafting to greet me. It felt new and old all at once, full of the past and my future. Already more a home than the parish had been for the last 10 years with thrice-damned Father Roderick and his enforcement of self-flagellation. My back ached at just the memory. "You are right now," I reassured myself, tamping down a shiver. "Father Roderick can't reach you here." Each of my footsteps echoed through the ornamental ceilings of crossing arches carved from unyielding stone. A moment of trepidation overcame me when I realized I didn't know which way to turn, or which floor I was being expected on. "Tristan Davies?" "This way," commanded a deep voice to my right, where the shadows were thicker. A slash of piercing light glinted off a heavy cross hanging from his neck. It was a man taller than even I, by about half a head. His clothes were pristinely pressed, despite the time of night, the black attire of a Roman Catholic priest. With a sharp turn on his polished heel, he led me through the curved halls. "I'm Father Oresti, one of the Catholicism professors, retired exorcist for the Diocese of Rome." A thrill seized me at his pronouncement. This was the man who had conducted over 500 exorcisms, including the famed exorcism of Giuseppina Rossi last year. The man who expelled 5 demons of hell from the body of a young woman, resulting in her salvation and prolonged life after all 3 sacraments were conferred. I reined in my excitement and bowed my head, even though he couldn't see me as I was behind him. "It's an honor, Father." He did not respond as he led me on and up 2 flights of stairs to the 3rd floor. His quiet spoke of one used to vows of silence and devoting their life to a higher power. The hair on the back of my neck prickled as we neared the room where a wooden door decorated with iron filigree exuded the cold of winter. Father Oresti gestured to the closed doors before standing aside, allowing me access to open them on my own. "May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you," he intoned before continuing down the halls alone. Taking a breath, I placed my hand between the iron swirls and pointed ends reminiscent of the arrows of angels, or demon tails, and pushed the door open. A breeze carrying icy flakes rushed out, rustling my hair and causing goose flesh to form under my long sleeves and coat. "Enter Tristan Davies," called a man from behind a desk flanked by large bookcases reaching to the vault's ceiling. He was illuminated by a pool of warm light from a flickering, fluted gas lamp on the mahogany desk. The golden flickers caused shadows to dance along the spines of shelved works and knowledge in many language I had never studied. His blue, recessed eyes looked up to me as if seeing straight through to my soul. Sir Arthur Hughes III, school president. I stepped into the room and approached the desk. "Good evening, sir." "Your journey was uneventful, I trust?" he asked, pushing his chair back slightly, then rising. Without waiting for a response, he turned away from me to gaze out the open window. Most of the strangeness of the world seems to center around England these days. Demons are circling, Mr. Davies, their fingers reaching into the minds of the youth and possessing our babes. It's up to us to study their ways and topple them from high places. I trust you're up to the task. He looked back at me, seriousness reflected in his spectacled gaze. I cleared my throat, staring straight ahead. "Yes, sir. I'm here to learn about the devils and how to bring them low. Cast them back into the pits from whence they came." Pain and the scars along my back spasmed at the cold and remembrance of my oath. The ache radiating up my arm alerted me to how hard I clenched my fist. "I'm coming for you, Beelzebub. Vengeance shall be mine. It's been 10 years of survival. The next 4 will arm me." Good lad, good lad." The slightly rotund Sir Hughes walked around the desk, clasping me on my still smarting shoulder, but I held back my flinch. "I expect great things from you. Those who have had a touch with death excel the farthest in our line of study. The veil thins and celestial knowledge seeps through porous connections. I will not disappoint, sir. Resolve strengthened my spine, making me tower over the man of shorter stature. He had heard of my history. That's why he was interested enough to welcome me personally. You have my word. I don't know how far we want to go. We can do a couple of paragraphs.
Yeah, you can either do a couple paragraphs or you can read the whole thing and then we'll be able to tell everybody, see, we can't really help. So, but you decide. So keep going.
Yeah.
You decide. We're here for
Okay.
you.
Admirable. I'm sure you'll excel at your coursework. Semester starts in 2 days on the 2nd of January. Sir Hughes glanced at the clock fixed upon the wall where the hands pointed to 12 and 57. Well, tomorrow now, technically. Happy New Year's. He then reached into a pocket and pulled out a key. "This is for your dorm accommodations. Room 113 in St. Francis Xavier Hall, the western wing furthest from the building. You have one fellow student to share chambers with, Clarence Wright. He lost his former roommate a month ago before the end of last term. Fresh linens are already provided. I'll be keeping a keen eye on your progress through your tenure. Good evening." He walked me to the entrance of the office, closing the door before I could question the circumstances of the previous occupant. I stood there for a moment, the weight of the key ominous in my hand. This Mr. Wright may be grieving the loss of his former roommate and thus resent me, like a creeping weed impinging upon a fresh grave. I better say a prayer for a good reception. Hail Mary, full of grace. The path through the building and back to the snowy outdoors was fairly easy to follow, even without an ordained guide. The lowly burning gas lamps bathed the cold stone in golden halos, leaving parts unknown in darkness outside their reach, their distance from the light source to their own detriment. I stuck to the well-illuminated spots of flooring, taking longer steps to avoid the shadows. The snow had picked up while I was indoors, whipping through my coat and hair now as I trudged along the commons, through the open gate, across the way, and to the dorms. The facade of the newly built dormitories was built in the style of the English Gothic, a stark contrast to my parish dwelling in the countryside of Wales. I hoped in time this would feel like my original family home had, before Beelzebub. I got out of the snow. I entered the east dormitory wing to traverse through the interior. Large double doors labeled dining hall were closed, but not locked, as were the communal toilets and showers. The dampened sounds of snoring exuded through some of the doors, while others were eerily silent. A few had their doors cracked open, the sight of boys drinking snuck-in booze by candlelight appearing in this sliver afforded me as I passed by. One beautiful, black-haired man, around my same 20 years of age, looked up, taking in my snowy countenance, then quickly returned to his studies without a word. His cheekbones were sharp, casting shadows along his face, while his dark eyes held a slightly feverish intensity. I hoped to meet him again, and see what he was studying so ardently, even on a holiday. Through the northern corridor I trudged, suitcase heavy, and my shoulder protesting. Most of the dorms in this wing were silent as well, until I got to the end of the hall. The sounds of muffled moans seeped through the crack beneath the door, making my hair stand on end. 2 male voices groaned obscenities in rhythm. I hurried on, through heated noises seeping into my blood. I needed to run, be Joseph in Egypt, and flee from Potiphar's wife. Or husband. But my suitcase dragged, and the moans quickened. Just
Oh,
What happened?
is it me? Am I paused?
Okay, so that wasn't just me.
Okay, I was like, what did the computer stop?
It was my internet.
Okay.
Okay.
Where'd I lose you?
Potiphar's wife or husband, I think,
Okay.
but my suitcase dragged.
Awesome. But my suitcase dragged and the moans quickened. Just 10 more steps to round the corner, Tristan. You can't use the discipline whip. You threw it out the carriage window. A stifled sound of simultaneous groans of ecstasy ran up my spine with just 2 steps to go, transmuting through my coat to my soul. Hail Mary, full of grace. The wing of St. Francis Xavier Hall was blessedly still. My straining knuckles gave out in relief, sending the suitcase to the floor with a loud crash, contents spilling across the stone floor. A door opened to my right, and the angry face of a blonde with ink-stained hands glared down at me. "What's all this racket?" he hissed. "Sorry, I just arrived," I explained, kneeling down to gather my texts and changes of clothing. The other man stood in his doorway, staring at me until I could take it no longer. "Do you know where room 113 is?" I asked, to try and break the tension. The man sighed. "You're Malachi's replacement then, are you? Good luck. You're just 2 more doors down on the left." With that, he snapped his door shut, revealing the number 116. So there were 16 dorm rooms on this floor of the wing. Good to know. Once my belongings were packed, I made it to my room. The wrought iron number 113 stared at me. The unlucky 13 offset by the 100, the number of wholeness, completion, an unlucky completion. I gently knocked, then slotted the key into the narrow opening and turned with a soft click. The door opened quietly, revealing my new lodgings. The room was modest, with 2 beds, 2 desks, 2 wardrobes, and 3 narrow windows along the wall, looking out onto the snowy green surrounded by all 4 wings. 3 strips of moonlight cut through the room, falling upon the empty chair where I assumed was my desk, discarded clothes in the center of the room, and upon my sleeping dorm mate, gliding over his hip, but not far enough to illuminate his face. I closed the door as silently as possible and placed my case on my bed, much to my shoulder's delight. Upon the desk, on my side of the room, I spied a glass lamp and a box of matches. I'd have to keep it on a low flame. With a single strike, a match spluttered into ignition. I kissed its tip to the porcelain tip, reveling in the glow and slight warmth cast by the flame. With a quick tweak, the illumination was dimmed by half. I turned and unpacked and was caught off guard by my roommate, now sitting up, glaring straight at me with murder in his eyes. "Tristan Davies," I introduced myself, standing straight by my desk, keeping distant betwixt us. "Your new dorm mate. You're Clarence Wright, correct?" "Fucker," he said, rolling over so his back was to me and raising his bedding over his head. Trepidation rose up in me. This was going to be a long semester. And that is the whole first chapter.
So Morgan and I were saying with Tiffany while you were in the backstage that we still don't know where you were. But anyway, when we were saying, like, we felt the characters we were introduced to were all each unique, right? And then I was like, well, and first I said, I'm not sure how I can help you because this is kind of perfect. But I thought, but I mean, Morgan and I were saying, even at the end, that the roommate that we've heard about and like you sort of alluded to, just the final line, as Morgan was saying, told us a lot about like who he is, what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I felt like that was a good first line introduction to him.
Agreed.
And just like his personality, like, oh, okay. You just come into the room. Okay, so this is what it's going to be like with
conflict.
yeah, it set up the conflict very nicely and set up the kind of person that he is probably going to be. So I thought that was very nice. And then the main character, I feel like throughout the story, I feel like I knew who he was. Throughout the first chapter, I kind of get a sense of who he was as well. The only thing, and then Tiffany, I'm stealing Tiffany's suggestion because we talked about it before we went live.
My God, think of something new. Okay.
I agree that like if you can say it, Tiffany. I don't feel bad stealing it.
No, go ahead.
Because she was saying if you wanted to like increase maybe like there's a lot of description of like the place. So if you wanted to take away some of that and add in more of like his internal dialogue or internal conflict to give us a greater sense of his character, that could be a spot. But okay, Tiffany, Barrett, anyone else?
Well, I had something. No. No, I agree. I think the characters are very strong. I think you get a good sense of who they are. I think you set up a few different places where I could see where people would be intrigued into like what happened in the past. What was his touch with death? You know, what was the thing with Father Roderick, who my second grade love and heart has an issue with him being a bad guy because Roderick, I don't want to say his last name on the internet, but he was the cutie patootie that broke my heart. I had a moment there when I read the name. But you know, like what happened there, what are the scars on his back, you know, type of kind of intrigue into wanting to know more about that. And then also questioning, and maybe this is just me, but does the sounds of the people doing the things, are they important in the story later on? Because I would assume that they are if, you know, you spend so much time talking about it. And so, yeah. So I think you set up some interesting dynamics there.
The only thing I would add is my takeaway from this is that the biggest character that you set up is the school, is the place.
Yes. Yeah.
You brought that to life, right? So I think if the place is meant to like be a character part of the story, and you know what I mean by character, just kind of something to move you along, I think you nailed that 110%, and I think you gave me enough of the characters that you know, it's kind of like going to a pickup bar. I got a little piece of each of the guys I wanted to get their numbers from. You know, I got exactly what I needed, and so now I can go home and buy myself.
Shift through all the pictures you took. I might call him. Nope.
Agree.
Esther says character was strong.
Great.
Definitely the middle of the chapter towards the end was more interesting.
Yeah, I would say that maybe the beginning, only because of all of this description, for some people it may drag. Because it definitely did feel like it got more interesting once you got into the people.
Yeah, I agree with that. Eva said, I struggle to keeping up with read-alongs, so my only tip is to weed out the crutch words. Trivial, but the character can assume the desk is their desk without saying they assume it. True, yes. I don't know what Eva means by this comment. I thought it was a first-person story, literally so disconnected from the story.
Oh, is it Eva, you prefer third person? Is it just like first person doesn't connect with you as much? Or just like when we're reading it, it doesn't connect as much?
Because it is a first person story.
Yeah.
So I'm confused. It could also maybe use more of his motivation, like tease his personality more and how his past has shaped his view of wanting to uncover more about demonology.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. She gave one more, I thought that was...
You also, in that perspective, if you are, even if you don't want to do motivation, like I sometimes love, and I don't remember which video I saw it on, but I feel like it was a Save the Cat type of video where they talked about like implying the theme of the story in the first to second chapter. So you could do that instead of the motivation, is somehow weave in the theme that the story has for you in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She kind of alluded to some of the theme, I think. I don't know what the
Yeah, I
theme
think
is,
so too.
but
But
like
yeah,
the revenge and like the vengeance and
What
whatever
happened?
happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the roommate.
Yeah. And then what happened to the roommate too, as well. So
There's a lot of like what, what's going, or the mystery, I guess, is
mhm.
like I'm going to be wanting to know what happened and what are the things.
Yeah. Esther says, if we are spending a lot of time in this setting, I would spread out the descriptions of the place, because at least for me it was a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that respect, because now that I'm thinking about it and she said it, I would almost want more description of the people. Because there's description of the people, like, the guy's rotund, because y'all with the rotund conversation killing me.
I love that word.
Different things, but I'm gonna assume that some of these characters are important characters. So maybe a little bit more description of them or how this person reacts to them, in the sense of like, what type of feeling do they get off of that person? Like, do they feel like this is someone that they could really trust? I know you had like the guy that was showing him and he respected him because of what it is that he did. But like, how does that respect translate into like the emotion he's feeling in his body? Does that make sense? Because it made sense in my head. Well, word, not everything that makes sense in my head does come out of my mouth.
Let's see. Internal dialogue would help with that, Deidre says. But the setup was great at building the normal ominous feeling of there's something big coming that you normally get from dark academia.
Agree. It felt like a train picking up steam. You know what I mean? I thought for me, I liked the pace, but I like a build.
I like a build too.
That's me, so that's personal, but
yeah, because if you didn't want the build, I guess you could kind of start where he meets people,
right?
Instead of like that setup part, but like start with him, maybe Father, what's his name, Orestes meets him at the front or meets him there instead of the description build up. But it depends on how you want.
But you still could do that, like have the father meet him at the gate, if you will, or at the entrance, and then there could be a conversation between the two as he walks through, but he's still describing what it is he's seeing, but then also so is the father. Like he's kind of giving him, like certain aspects of, like there's the part where he's talking about the three buildings, how the campus is encompassed by the three buildings. You could have the father expressing that, like sharing.
It could be dialogue of like a tour.
Is so important, if you will.
Oh, like a campus tour. Yeah.
So he could be giving him kind of like the campus tour, but also in the sense of explaining or getting more in depth to the father. He could be explaining why these things are important, what they're, like why, the dorms are back here, or why this is here, or, why the headmaster's office is here, what all the iron stands for, like why they use that or stuff like that. And then that would also give you your descriptions, but also give you more of the character interaction and build each other.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Brilliant.
Eva asks, how much have you written and are you publishing or
you've done art? Like you've got a full draft, don't you?
This is all I've written.
No.
Oh,
I didn't think so. I thought this one was new.
Oh wow. Okay. Jiminy Christmas. That's a.
Wait, I missed the answer. What did you say? How much?
This
Just the first chapter. That's it.
Okay.
Wow.
I have a blurb.
Yeah, blurb me.
All right. In December 1860, Tristan enters the hallowed halls of St. Benedict's School of Spiritual Studies to learn the ways of exorcism and delve into demonology. While studying, the fellow student Ezekiel initiates captivating conversation about the afterlife, the nature of sin, and obsession. Giuseppina, the female ward of a retired priest teaching at the college, draws both their attention, her mysterious past and famous exorcism tantalizing to unravel. They grow close, debating deep into the no longer lonely nights. But when students start to die in ritualistic ways, and the secret society makes its moves, Tristan must come to terms that there may be parts of Ezekiel and Giuseppina that he had been ignoring, old and demonic parts that are hungry for blood. In the same vein as the work of S.T. Gibson, I wish to walk the line between characters dealing with love and lust while navigating their new surroundings filled with deadly entities.
Ooh.
Mm.
I like it.
Interesting. I like that a lot.
Yes, Eva, it's a spicy romance.
Oh. Well, yeah, I guess I should have assumed that. Thruple. I mean, and hopefully
Thruples aren't tame.
Yeah. I like it.
Oh, this is the answer to my question
Oh,
earlier.
I've been doing almost only audio. For me, very hard.
Third is hard for me.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same.
For me,
Third is hard. I used to write only third, and then I switched to first, and now I'm trying to go back to third, and it's very difficult.
I guess I don't always feel like I get as close to the characters as I want to get in third.
An hour straight.
That's great.
I more feel like I'm closer to them in first.
Oh, that makes sense. And I mean, obviously romance, of course, you're gonna like, that's like, you're gonna nail that. So.
And Shannon, I don't know how you did an 11-hour stream.
Oh, 11 hours. I was like,
yeah, 11 hours and 11K.
Yeah. I can't.
But also, can you write my third Christmas book for me? Because I'm having a hard time, and that's almost the whole word count I need.
Tiffany, we've seen you write that many words in a day, though, when you're under a dedeadline. Come on now. You can.
Yeah, but that's also when I'm in the story. I'm having a really hard time. I need my own writer's room.
We can do that.
You can do that.
Looks like we just found our December guest.
Yep.
Oh no, it's got to be written before December. So no.
Man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I could come up with something for December. Yeah.
And JC suggests you could spread out the description of the school as the character discovers more in its exploration of it. True.
That's good. Also, hi, JC.
I read this months ago, so it's a bit foggy, but I know the setup of the setting plays into what happens in the next chapter or so. But maybe you could interweave the setting bits. Is there more? Into an action opening, like maybe start in a class instead of arriving at the school. Interesting. But I like him meeting his roommate at the end.
Yeah.
I like that part.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to do the dirty?
No.
Oh.
It's the one who is studying very feverishly. That's Ezekiel King.
Down the hall? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, not the one who came out the hall, but like
the one who's sitting in there studying.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
Victoria says it had a really strong mood that fits with dark academia really well.
Thank you.
If I could imagine anything in my mind's eye, I wonder how my writing would be different.
Same.
Alice says, for me, I describe my character's clothing well enough, but I suffer with art rooms sometimes, so I got to work on my environment.
I'm confused. What did we mean by the one before?
What?
If you could imagine things in your mind and see them.
Yeah, because like aphantasia, where you can't see things in your head.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see anything when I read or write.
Really?
I see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a movie in my head.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my gosh, imagine writing romance to me without being able to see it. We'd have to act it out like Twister.
He's like,
I'm not gonna lie, but there has been some moments that I did have to check down to see. Well, sometimes you just, and Morgan knows this because she's edited my stuff, and she's been like, "How'd her leg get there?"
I
And
know,
so
like, where are the legs? I don't.
And so, I mean, like, in all fairness, there has been some moments where I'm like, hold on.
Even
Does
with
that
like
work?
doing it early reader for this book, Laura.
Nice.
Let's see. Just a suggestion: by shaving a bit of the description while keeping the ominous feeling, she can set the place and get to the characters faster. Since it's dark academia, it doesn't make sense to take it all out.
Yeah.
Yes. And Eva says, I suggest literary readers too. But also, I'm suggesting being with someone who knows, who likes to know the setting little by little, so I can get attached and pull in for a long time. And about the blurb, I think am I behind? Yeah, kind of behind.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like religious healing vibes. Then we talked about spicy romance, and then Shannon likes the blurb. The school and the underlying premise fascinate me, but the romance takes me out as a target reader. Womp womp. Aw. A lot of times I write in third and then change to first because I feel closer in third.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. The same pal I had to read for Shannon before, maybe into it though.
Nice.
And then Shannon says she loves her writing style, Tiffany, so she can't replicate it.
Thank you. That's very, very sweet.
Scrolling. Yes, December is upon us.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Writing with aphantasia is wild sometimes. A lot of research, photos, videos. That's magic. Y'all are magic and in denial, maybe. I don't even know what part of the conversation this was about.
I think we were talking about like the visualizing and the like trying to act it out.
Oh.
For the romances.
To be fair, what you have is pretty good. I agree with this. At this point, we're nitpicking as it's already pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I do feel like a lot of this is maybe second draft conversation or like going forward conversation. And then you could come back and rework what you wanted to do in the first, chapter. Because again, it's the first chapter.
Yeah. And it's a pretty solid chapter.
Mm-hmm.
We are chatting today, Morgan. Oh, I caught up.
I've done that, Victoria, so don't feel bad.
I wrote a whole short story for class before I realized I didn't describe any of the characters, what the characters look like.
Yep.
December is the boogeyman.
Oh. All right, I read all the comments. Yay. Any more comments for Laura on the chapter, on the story?
I love it.
I
can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Wait a minute. Which one did you say was the throuple dude? It wasn't the one that came out of the room.
It was the guy who was studying feverishly.
But he just walked past him, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You could see him through the sliver in the door.
So my romance writing head says I would maybe have some type of connection there when he sees him through the door. It doesn't have to be huge because this is dark academia. Admittedly, I don't know how that, flow, what is it? The beats flow with that. But the romance side of me, normally when you see the person that there is going to be that connection with, there is some type of like, whether it's like an eye catch or emotion or something, you know what I mean? Because I assumed it was the dude who came out the door, because it seemed like there was more of a something between them than necessarily the guy that he just walked past. So I would maybe hint at that a little bit closer than necessarily the other person.
Okay.
Yeah. I suppose it's like eyes meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paper flies out of the room and the main character hands it back.
Yeah.
Drop
Yeah.
some, pick it up, and it,
Pop, lock, and drop it.
Hey, a little bend and snap.
Yeah, do a bend. Eva says finish the entire story this year. Dare you?
Maybe by the end of February.
See, I would take that dare, but I would look at it as like by the end of this year means by November of next year, because that's a year.
This next year, this next 365 days.
I'd be like, you didn't specify this year. You just said by the end of the year. That's a year.
My goal is to finish Crimson Strings by the end of this month, so in the next week. And then send it out to beta readers and work on this.
Good.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And the new job.
Yay. D says, I think you're so good at description, Laura, so you lean all the way into that, but now you have to take a step back and really hone in the prose. Going forward, give us more active story. On top of that, and you'll be golden. Now go be great.
We believe in you.
I read that one. There's a readership for literary fiction. Just got to decide if it's your readership or not. If it works, it works.
Like my marriage.
I'm now dare to finish by this month.
Eva's just been mean now.
Finish this one by the end of winter season, maybe. Yeah, before spring.
That's good.
Do that instead. Your year is full. All right. Yay. Were we helpful, Laura?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. We did our job. Right. So, unless anyone in the chat has anything for Laura, you can still type it in. And then anyone have any news? Anything exciting coming up that you want to share with the
Poetry night?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's next Saturday. So sign up if you haven't already. I'm gonna go find the form.
Yeah.
We have Small Town World coming. We don't know what we're talking about. Any suggestions? Drop them in the chat. We'd love to have it.
Let's see. Yeah.
Hold on, getting the link.
It's very fast. Who is that? Was that Laura?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Nia and I could do it. I don't know if that's fully just the people who watch our show, but we could do it. We come up with a small town invest. I had a story like that where it was going to be a small town that was basically fully vampires, and then someone moves there and they don't realize it, that including their family, everyone is vampire. There's only like maybe 3 or 4 humans.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So are they like lunch, I guess?
Are the
No,
humans-
it was in my heyday of reading Twilight fan fiction, and so it was the idea that there were two sets of vampires, but there was like the kind of Cullen-esque kind of vampires, and then the regular vampires, and then the shifters. And so it was basically like everybody was some type of supernatural except for like these 3 or 4 people. Kind of a conversation. So
They were the vintages being stored.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was
That
like
1990, we got a 1980.
Oh my
Didn't
god.
we kind of do that though? Like
Wait,
the
did we say-
holidays.
I mean, I'm
in your small
A
town?
certain vintage, not old, but like
No, I just heard you say vintage, and I heard 1980, and I was like, whoa, Tiffany and I are not quite vintage yet. Hold on.
I don't know. I just had a birthday, and my younger cousin was like, "Oh my God, you're so old!" And I was like, "I'm sorry. Do I hear a knocking? Because you're right behind me."
Right? I also would have been like, and don't invite yourself to my birthday next year. Unless you remember I am 25 again.
How to transform your small town? Huh? Okay,
There's
we'd have to think about that.
Oh yeah, and there's a January collab event for author tubers under 1K. So if you want to sign up for that, do it. There's the form to sign up for poetry night.
Yay! I can't wait. That's always so fun.
I have to write poems for it because I don't have anything new.
You can do it.
What's unique in small town romances?
Wait, what?
You like that one? Suggestions for small town world?
What's unique in small town?
I like the one about how do you make it different for Christmas too. I was like, oh, I like that. How to transform it. Like that's a good idea. Like transform a small town for the holiday for like different.
Classic holiday romance tropes that always work.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Give your small town personality for the holidays.
I had thought about, and it was more so because my father's been watching Hallmark Christmas and Great American Christmas since like October. And I was just like, what I thought of was how to make your book not as formulaic as Hallmark Christmas movie. Like how to not make your small town formulaic.
I don't think that's what I said, Richard.
No.
Birding?
Well, it's Richard.
Oh. That's a fun age.
I'm old as young.
I just say my body's old. My spirit's young. My body's old.
There was a workshop that I watched when I was working for this time management company, and they did this workshop where it was like you were supposed to draw a line and write birth and death and then put yourself where you thought you were. And there was a dude who was maybe like 70 something, 80 years old, and if this is birth, he put his line like right here. So he was like, I'm as close to there as I want to be.
He's really gonna live to be like 789. So
yeah. X plus Y equal Hallmark, but have you tried X plus Y plus Z? Well, because it's true. Like every single I can literally watch a Hallmark movie and I can tell you exactly on the commercial break. I'm like, okay, so when they come back, this is when they're gonna have the disagreement or something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
And then when they go to the next commercial break, I'm like, someone's gonna leave town.
And their friend's gonna tell them, go after them, or yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna run back into each other right here.
Small town holiday romance in warm weather. Another suggestion.
Oh,
that's a good one.
A lot of fun. I like that.
Richard says formulaic isn't always bad.
True.
Add more real life trauma in its lifetime.
Isn't that the truth?
Holiday romance that are not US based.
Ooh, like that.
I love that idea. But I love any holiday like romance that's not US based. I feel like we're the only people who have certain holidays. And no.
We're not the center of the universe?
No. I mean I've heard other places are there. You know the world isn't flat. It's a boggles the mind.
Oh. Change a few of those words around, and that's a naughty book, Richard. Okay. Christmas at the beach is a thing. I wish it was a thing for me. We're gonna have Christmas in the cold.
We listen to Beach Boys.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah.
I mean, but it is truly. Some people go.
I know.
I just watched something. It was an interview with the Red One, that new movie with The Rock and Chris Evans and Lucy Liu and everything. Yeah. And so they were talking, like they were questioning, they were asking what's like a you must have type of thing for winter or for Christmas. And I feel like it was Chris Evans because he's from Massachusetts, and he was saying something about cold weather, and The Rock was saying how they go to Hawaii for Christmas, which makes sense because of heritage and everything. And so it was really fun listening to the different dynamic of, Chris Evans with the cold weather versus The Rock with, Hawaii and the warm weather. So yeah,
that's hard for a lot of Americans, Richard, to understand. I know.
We still believe the world is flat.
Hot take. Okay.
I don't know what that's about.
Laura, what's
that?
Well,
oh, she heard. Like that's what she heard.
Yeah. That's it.
Big going on. Ooh, and I want orange juice. Thank you.
Anyone have a book to promote? I don't have any books to promote. Tiffany, do you have a release coming or?
Yeah, I just got.
I have one that just came out Tuesday.
Yeah.
Elfing Nice and Elfing Naughty.
Hey. Is that one book or two books?
Well, Elfing Nice is one book. Elfing Naughty is. Oh, wait, hold on. I just remembered. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna go get it. Give me a moment. I'm almost there.
She's running.
Running in place. She's doing the running man.
Not for you.
You have a paperback? Is something coming in paperback?
If she comes back on screen with a riding crop and chaps, I win.
Yay! You can get both Elfing Nice and Elfing Naughty in paperback.
Love it.
Yeah. Yay. And it's got look, chapter headers and
love
words.
Words. Lame.
A book with words?
And little Santa hats in there.
I'll have to get it. That's exciting.
So yes, you can get it. And this one kicked my butt. It kicked my butt, took it off, handed it back to me, and then kicked it again.
Right out of your hands.
So, yes, that's why I'm telling everybody, buy the book. I cannot promise there will be more. It kicked my tushy.
That was a struggle.
And y'all, nice. I got them in the mail. And so my father actually
opened one and read it.
Well, at first he was like, how much are they selling for it? I was like, $8.99. And he goes, okay. And then he goes, I only have a 10. And I was like, I wasn't.
Yep. Inflation.
But okay. And so he's like, okay. So I told him he could just have it. I thought he was just going to put it on his bookshelf. And then I went into his room for something and he had the book open on his bed, like sitting there like this. And I'm going, oh.
You're like, oh.
This is gonna get awkward real quick. Next time we get together,
read it. But let's just not talk about it.
Next time we get together for the
get to chapter 11, that might be an interesting conversation.
Right? He's gonna be like, "Do all of them write that?" We'll be like, "No, just your dog."
Oh yes, and no, even my father has not read my work, so
no, he has now. No.
I mean,
that should be interesting.
Maybe he'll learn something.
I'm just saying.
Or maybe he'll give you tips. Oh no, this is getting weird.
Oh no.
Getting into what if he gives you notes?
No,
that's just not how I've seen it.
Please blog him telling you about your writing.
Absolutely not.
More promotions. Shannon has a Kickstarter launching February. Launch page is already up for A Curse of Wings and Gems.
Nice.
Yay. Richard says subscribe to FinPix channel. Yes, do that.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to get the paperback. We did it. Like,
and I mean, y'all are like joking, but this could be a real okay. The closest my father's ever come to reading my work is it was a what is it, ghostwriting thing. And he came upstairs and it was on my screen, but it wasn't like a smexy scene. It was just them talking and there was a few choice words. And he was like, well, I don't understand why those words need to be in there because like there's this and there's that. And it was a whole 45-minute conversation while I cooked of why we should maybe not use curse words in our writing. So
Oh, the curse words bothered him? Oh. So good.
Because my father does not curse. So therefore.
Oh, did he? I was like,
yeah, no, my father doesn't. Well, not around that I've ever heard him. If he does, he's secretly doing it at work and with his friends. But he doesn't curse. He doesn't drink. He told me I was trying to turn him into an alcoholic by putting vanilla extract in my cookies.
I don't think that do it.
We need to unpack that.
Well, for years he didn't know that vanilla extract had alcohol in it, and then he was watching some old Western and someone mentioned something about the fact it had alcohol in it, and he was like, did you know vanilla extract has alcohol in it? And I was like, yes, it's based alcohol. And he's like, all my life, my whole family's been trying to turn me into an alcoholic.
Like, no.
With cookies and pies and cakes. And I was like, you could stop eating them. He's like, well, it's too late now. I'm already addicted.
I think that's the sugar, not the alcohol.
I was like, okay. So now when I make cookies, he's like, I'm like, you can't have you can have those cookies. You can have those ones. They're the alcohol-free ones. He's like, really? I'm like, no, they all have vanilla in it.
He's like, are those laced with the alcohol?
So yeah.
You tell the alcohol
what?
Out.
Wait, what?
Guys, she says you can get a DUI for drinking vanilla extract.
Well, yeah. If you chug
but how much do you have to drink?
Right? I'm like, what? And
not much, isn't it? Like it's a pretty high percentage of alcohol.
Well, okay, if you were making homemade vanilla extract, then yeah, I can see that. But if you're buying it in the grocery store, I don't think it's quite enough that you should be able to get a DUI.
We have jars of homemade vanilla extract.
Yeah, because homemade vanilla extract, like I know somebody who does it, and she buys like a whole, what is it, like a regular thing of vanilla? I mean, not vanilla, vodka. And she pours that in and then puts the vanilla beans in and the different stuff and then just lets it sit there and ferment until it becomes vanilla extract. So yeah, I can see that if it's real, if it's homemade.
Well, it doesn't ferment because it's alcohol.
Well, I didn't mean ferment, but you know, like marinate and get all the good stuff. But yeah.
No, just a regular bottle. It says it's like 35% alcohol.
Oh, I didn't think the grocery store ones were that high.
Good time right there. That's what that is.
Hey.
But like that would taste not good, y'all. Like that would. There's nothing you're gonna mix with a bottle.
Lady had 35 bottles of vanilla extract. What?
Why not just buy vodka? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
why? I feel like it would be cheaper than 35 bottles of vanilla extract.
Was meth not available?
What did I just see? We're totally going off the subject of writing. Y'all, I just saw something. It was like a video and they were talking about people with weird food habits. And it was someone who just ate cornstarch. And I was like, why would you do that? Like cornstarch has no flavor. It's chalky. It's just bad.
Same. Like
why?
Yeah.
Yeah. They just ate cornstarch. I was like, that. I don't understand that statement.
Like eating flour.
Yeah.
Eating baking powder and being
I was like, it doesn't really have a taste. It's not doing anything. Why?
No, it's a no.
Did you guys ever use cornstarch to get sand off at the beach?
Mm-mm.
No, I've used cornstarch
No.
to top Riley's nails
I
from
didn't know that was a hack.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
You
worked.
take your rag, you put cornstarch on it, and you rub it, and it gets the sand right off.
No way.
I'll have to do that next time.
I'm gonna definitely do that.
I don't go to the beach enough, so you know.
You used to have a bucket of it in her trunk.
1 bottles is still entirely too many, D. Like,
Mhm.
go buy some vodka, lady. Like,
Like,
what?
oh, that's okay. 21 bottles. I understand.
But yes, I agree. Just go buy the vodka.
Hey, she's like, oh, the 21 makes it fine then. One for each year. She was old.
Okay, we should go.
We'll go. This was fun. We'll see you all in December on
Barrett's channel.
We don't have a date yet, do we? Do we?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a date. I have dates all
Christmas
the way
Day.
into till December of 2025. Actually,
Do you really?
yeah. I was going through my
Well, not on
calendar.
brand.
I was going through my calendar the other day, and I just decided to go ahead and do them.
December 15th.
Wow,
Yes.
you got to it faster than me. I had to pull up stuff.
December 15th is next writer's room.
December 15th, we shall see thee.
It's 3 weeks.
All right. Well, we're not going to do formal outros. We're just going to say goodbye. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.